was Christmas Eve 2017 and my parents were out on a date for a few hours. I was at home with a babysitter called Dana. I was watching TV whilst Dana was on her phone when I heard the doorknob being fiddled with. I didn't know who it was because I hadn't invited anybody over and I knew Dana hadn't. I went to the window to see who it was. It was a tall guy dressed in all black with something over his head. I went to tell Dana and she then went to look and she saw him too, but she ran back to tell me to call the police quick when she went to get a kitchen knife. We ran upstairs, but once we got up we heard a gunshot and glass breaking. Thank God my neighbour was a police officer, so I called him. He came round and we could hear him. We ran down and found them, but Dana was horrified when she saw him. He got arrested, and after this Dana told me that that was her ex-boyfriend Sam, that he had come to get her for breaking up with him. But she then told me the reason she ran back in a panic was because she saw him holding a handgun and a black mask half on his head looking at her with a disturbing smile on his face. I'm just glad that my neighbour was there to save us and that hopefully he is behind bars. It was Christmas Eve and I was watching TV downstairs whilst my brother was upstairs. My dad was working and my mum was out with her friend. I was watching Home Alone 2 when I got a phone call. I answered it and I got no response for 10 seconds, so I hung up. About 5 minutes later the phone rang again. For some reason I answered it, but this time I got heavy breathing. I was practically shitting myself. Just when I was about to hang up, I heard a voice saying, "Don't hang up or I'll break into your house now and kill you." Despite what he said, I went upstairs and told my brother. He came downstairs with me and suddenly we both stopped dead. A cold chill ran up my spine. We could see something at the window. We couldn't tell what it was, but then it came closer and we realised it was the man, the one who was calling me, and he was looking at us holding a knife. He had a look of anger on his face. I was scared even more than I was before, but I could tell my brother was also scared shitless. We got the phone, ran upstairs and called 911, but by the time they got here, the man was gone. About 3 hours later, when I was getting ready to go to bed, I got a text from a random number saying, "Merry Christmas." Then I looked out my window and it was a man. He quickly moved away out of sight, and at that moment my mum came home, so did my dad. I went and told them everything. They didn't take me seriously until my brother backed me up. My dad and brother went outside with a knife, but they couldn't find him. That was the last time either of us ever saw him, or at least I hope it is. I will never forget this experience. I was 6 years old when my mum took me to the mall to sit on one of those mall Santa's laps. A lot of kids would normally be begging their mums to sit on their lap, but this time my mum was forcing me to sit on his lap. I eventually gave in and sat on the Santa's lap. He asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I said some action figures, and he said I would get some if I were good. Then my mum said to wait by the Santa while she went to do something. Then the mall Santa said he had some action figures with him now, and I could get one and not have to wait till Christmas for it. I suddenly thought that seeing the mall Santa was a great idea and I got really excited. I then followed the man to what I thought was outside to his sleigh, but he was leading me to the bathroom. He then said that he needed to go to the toilet and I would get it after. I nodded. When we entered the bathroom I heard footsteps behind us, and then the man shutting the door and locking it. I was feeling a bit uncomfortable now, especially when he busted open the bathroom window. I then heard a loud banging at the door, somebody screaming to open the door. Now I knew something was wrong, but before I could do anything, the Santa grabbed me and threw me out the window. Just as the man burst open the door and screamed at the Santa, that's when I heard the Santa run off and somebody run to the window and jump out to get me. After he did, we ran to the entrance to find my mum really worried and upset. The man explained everything. I later found out that the man had been arrested 4 times for taking pictures of little boys and stalking them. It was a year later, on New Year's Eve, that the man had finally been caught and arrested for a life sentence. I'm just glad that the Hat Man was there to save me.